As we celebrate our African heritage, some have taken a pilgrimage to Inzalo Ye Langa, the birthplace of the sun and the world's oldest known solar calendar in Mpumalanga sacred sites. This is honor of the spring equinox and the commencement of the African New Year. Well, to help us reflect more meaningfully on the significance of the time is African scholar and a CEO of the Zindzi Mandela Foundation, Mkhulu Nsingiza. Mkhulu, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on Newzroom Afrika this morning.
So
let's start with Inzalo Ye Langa. What is it and why over time have we almost lost touch with the significance of what I've recently discovered is the oldest stone on the world?
It is the oldest stone calendar in the world, older than the pyramids of Giza. This is where it all started. All the technology that was refined in the north started right here.
So talk to us about what it is and what it represents when we talk about the African calendar, given the fact that we so often focus on other solar calendars.
Yes, it realigns, and assists us in terms of timing, for us to determine our own time, because we are on the southern hemisphere. We cannot use a calendar that is based on the northern hemisphere. So that calendar, it marks the solstices as well as the equinoxes. So yesterday, it was the first day, after the equinox, which aligned on the 22nd of, September. So then, on the 21st, the sun officially left the northern hemisphere, then went through what is called the imaginary line of the equator for the 21st, 22nd. On the 23rd, it made 1 degree southwards, meaning signifying a new cycle for the southern hemisphere we call the African New Year.
We know that a lot of the times when we hail in a new year, that usually speaks of rebirth. A lot of people associate a new year with an opportunity to start afresh. Often people come up with New Year's resolutions to try and turn a leaf and perhaps become better versions of themselves. Does the African calendar afford those who follow it, similar beliefs, similar aspirations? Does it signify something of the same tune?
Yes, and it's not only just a belief, but scientifically, backed as well. Because this is the return of the hydrogen on the southern hemisphere, and it renews everything. That is why you see even nature is starting to green. And this is a perfect time for us to launch any idea, because this is the beginning. This is when we start on the southern hemisphere. So your projects, will have a better chance to succeed if you were to launch them, during this time.
Mkhulu, it makes me very curious about the sort of rituals that people can undertake during this period. I think about the fact that just last week we were celebrating Mkhulu, which traditionally also signals the beginning of spring. And there are a number of other rituals that people who follow African practices and African spirituality can undertake during this period to, in fact, introduce that spirit of renewal and reinvigoration, as you've already described for us. So what are some of those rituals that people can participate in?
I think, this is the time for, preparation for this time is done in August. In August, we at GEK movement were fasting until, the 23rd of September, so that we prepare, so that when we start this, time, everything, even in our system, we try to detox the body so that we are able to have the necessary energy that will give us the vibrational frequency that will assist us when we launch new programs and new systems.
I want to talk about the pilgrimage that is planned to Inzalo Ye Langa. What can people who participate in such a journey gain from being physically close to the site itself, the sacred site itself? I mean, are there healing properties that are assigned to it? You know, we know that the Stonehenge in Europe carries a lot of significance for those who believe in the sort of spiritualities that are assigned to it, and many journey to the stones to have some sort of an experience or some sort of an exposure. Can something similar be expected of Inzalo Ye Langa as the birthplace of the sun itself?
Certainly. Yes, certainly. It's a healing, place, and when you are there, healing just happens. Your atoms, are re-energized. Why? Because this is where the electromagnetic field of Earth passes. Right from in Durban, in Bluff, right at the root chakra of Earth. It passes through Inzalo Ye Langa until it reaches and goes, up. That line, it touches the Great Pyramid of Giza. So naturally, this is where the male and female energy of Earth, is and is being experienced. It's not something you can describe. You have to experience it because it's something we feel. And you also witness the drama of the sun, the drama of nature as it rises. It gives you, different, expressions all the time. What we witnessed yesterday, on the 23rd when the sun rises, it won't be the same as we witnessed, last year. And the other year coming, it will be a different thing. So you experience nature there. You experience, this power that we talk about, which is the sun, which is a production house for the hydrogen that we on Earth need.
Mkhulu, it's sad that histories don't reflect our true histories as they should. We know the level of the erasure that the African continent went through during the colonial pursuits. What's the call that you're making today on this auspicious occasion, it being Heritage Day, to those who would want to reclaim what has been lost and are interested and are curious about what our ancestors believed and how they told time, for instance? Mkhulu? Well, we still have you with us, so perhaps if you could just answer the question with regards to what was lost and what people can hope to still find.
Oh, yes, Ndlovukazi, it is, a very, very important, thing for us as African people, as we reclaim our character, our identity as African people. We are crying for expression of that African emotion, but we are confined by the system that we operate under, which is a Western system, which is why, the leaders in this Western system, they've got to listen and hear our cry. Africa and Africans need to return to the tried and tested governing system of the continent, which holds all this heritage, because it was royalty that gave the world, civilization. Therefore, there is a conflict that, we are experiencing as Africans. We are being ruled in the Western way, whilst we are Africans, and we are always in constant need to express ourselves within the confines of this system. So this is our cry as African people, that can the leaders hear us and, and see how they can accommodate, because it is really unfair for Africans not to celebrate their their new year. Because what we are doing, it is government work. You know, this is a government that is supposed to do this. We don't have resources that the government have. Let them give, you know, people the truth. Our real new year on the Southern Hemisphere is on the 23rd of September, not the 1st of January. Because even scientifically, it's impossible for us to start the year in January, because December in isiZulu is known as Uzibandlela. It's the month of maturity. Therefore, it signifies that everything is matured. Therefore, we cannot start the year then. You know, the true new year on the Southern Hemisphere that affects the whole continent is the 23rd of, you know, September, according to science.
Well, Mkhulu, thank you so much for joining us. That was such an enlightening conversation. That's African scholar and CEO of the Zindzi Mandela Foundation, Mkhulu Nsingiza, helping us to have the conversation around Inzalo Ye Langa and a conversation around the spring equinox.